Now we're going to work on adding accounts payable to our spreadsheet. One of the things that we should be doing is copying the spreadsheet and saving the original and then copying this to another spreadsheet so that if anything goes wrong as we're adding items, we can always revert back to the original. So on our first spreadsheet, this was our AR spreadsheet, so we should name this AR. And then we want to add a new sheet, so we click on this, and now we have a new sheet. Go back to our original, and now we want to copy everything that's on this sheet to this new sheet. So the way that's done is we go to the intersection of the rows and columns here, and that selects the entire spreadsheet. We do Control C for copy. We go to the new spreadsheet, go to the intersection, do Control V as in Victor, and our new spreadsheet is copied. Spreadsheet is copied. Go back to the old one, hit Escape, get rid of that, and now we're ready to go. We have on the AR sheet, we have what we did for accounts receivable, and now we will continue by adding accounts payable. But we have the original sheet just in case something goes wrong. We want to name this new sheet AP for accounts payable, and now we can move on. Okay, and again, as I said, the things that we did before, we will do again. It's different words, same concept though. So this is accounts payable. Okay, so as before, we need a title on the right sheet. This is accounts payable. We need a beginning balance. What makes accounts payable increase? The expenses. What makes accounts payable decrease is cash payments, cash disbursements. We call it cash payments. And again, we can't have them all in 1 month, so we have to spread it out. So cash payments, month incurred, and then subsequent month. And this then is total cash payments. And then bottom line, ending balance. Okay. So those are our headings. Now we will use for our variables for how we are paying our bills. We pay our bills slower than we collect our receivables. So in the month incurred, we pay 30%, and in the subsequent month, we gotta pay 70%. And again, we do a little formula, so it's equal to 1 minus that. That's 0.7. 0.3 is a variable. We paint it as such. And now we're ready to go. Beginning balance is equal to our ending balance. Beginning balance equal to our ending balance. Okay. Expenses. Now we need to be careful here because we look at the expenses, well, we know we're going to link something, so we can type equal in. And if we look at the expenses in the income statement, you see the expenses that we have are personnel, which is payroll, and other than personnel. So these are the only things that go through AP other than personnel. Personnel expenses, payroll, does not go through accounts payable. So that's a different issue, and we'll handle that separately. So, and again, these are negative numbers, so we want this to be positive. So we've said equal minus that number, 6,000. So there's our 6,000. Cash payments, this is just a header. And in the month incurred, and we don't have freeze panes here, so we need to do that. I forgot to freeze the panes. Okay, so let's go and do that. Okay, now they're rolling. So in the month incurred, the monies dispersed would be 30% of the 6,000, and the same way as we did before, these are the items that make accounts payable decrease, so they're going to be negative. It's equal minus 0.3 times absolute value at 4 times 6,000. So that's 1,800. In the subsequent month, we're going to do 70%. We're going to do minus that 70% equal minus 70% at 4 times previous month, expenses in the previous month. Total will be total of those two. It's a good total, 1,800, and the ending balance, as we did before, it'll be equal to our beginning balance plus the expenses plus, which is actually a minus, on total cash payments. 4,200 is left. Makes sense? Sounds reasonable? 6,000 of expenses, we paid 1,800 of it, 4,200 is left. Okay, so let's see what happens when we drag this over. Drag it over 1, and 4,200, 6,000 expenses, same expenses each month. So we wind up with the same amount of payables because we have the same expenses each month. So payable balances remain the same. This needs to be formatted properly. Get rid of the decimal places. So that looks good. So we drag this over. Okay, that looks like a winner. Looks good. Alright, so again, that's the table. The table is in. As I said before, the table is the easiest piece of this. Now getting it into the financial statements is where we run into whatever problems we're going to run into. Alright, so we go to the balance sheet. Obviously we need a new line in the balance sheet. We need a line for accounts payable, and that's going to go above this. This is going to be in this section. So it should be above loans payable. So click on that and do an insert. Insert the entire row. And then call it accounts payable. You increase the indent on this so that it lines up better. Yeah, it's better. Okay. Alright, now we need an accounts payable number, and we're going to get that from our table. So it's that number that we're going to select from our table. We're going to link our accounts payable to this ending balance. And you notice that nothing happened as far as being out of balance. And that's because, as I explained before, when you add rows to Excel, sometimes the totals do not include that, so it comes out incorrect. So let's take a look at this total. Take a look at that. You see it does not include that 4,200. So if you increase that, make it include the 4,200, it should go red. And there it is. So you want to, so we can see the effect, you want to drag these totals over because you just changed that, so you want to make that total correct. And then you want to drag this over. Every line should go negative. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, now what's the problem here? Again, if we look at the cash disbursements in the statement of cash flow, we see that we say cash to vendors. This was payroll. We say cash to vendors was negative 6,000. That's not true. Cash to vendors was $1,800. So that number has to change. So this number will be equal to this cash to vendors, total cash payments out, 1,800. Enter. And our red should be fixed, and it is. Now, we need to drag this over. 1,800 that we just put here, we need to drag that over. And everything is fine. What's not fine is this, our cash flow statement. And the same issue as in the previous work that we did in accounts receivable, we need to put the change in accounts payable. So we need to put in the change in accounts payable. So we need to put a line in, a row in, insert, entire row, okay. And this is going to be accounts payable. Now, an accounts payable increase is a source of cash. An accounts payable increase is a source of cash. So, accounts payable increase and a decrease is a use of cash. Okay, different than assets. Okay, so, in the same way as we did before, we're going to measure the difference between the two, but this time accounts payable increase, and we want this to be a positive change. So I'm going to make sure that this formula will come out as a positive number. So it will equal this minus this. and we'll come up with a positive number. Okay, now again, we didn't get the change that we were looking for, and class, that's because the formula isn't correct. This formula is not correct. If we go to F2 and look, you'll see that it doesn't include a 4200, so we need to make sure that it does. Okay, 4200, and this is going to fix the red. Now we need to drag all of this over because we changed the totals too, so we need to drag everything over. And we should be fine. Accounts payable, cash flow statement, everything looks good. We have accounts payable in our system now. Now we need to fix the summary. So let's go to the summary. We go up and we have the same issue as we had before. We need to include this 4200. We have this hole. So we take this and drag this up. And then we need to fix this total. You see it doesn't include that 4200. So we click that on that total. And now that red has disappeared. And if we go down the page, the same thing as we had before. We need to drag this down, fix this total. And it's all done. Okay. Same concept as what we did on accounts receivable. Accounts payable, accounts receivable, both the same, both done the same way. Now we have accounts payable in our system, and we have cash flow statements that work, and we have our two tables, and we're all set. Okay? Thank you very much.